Okay, so this is going to be a video on logo creation using Adobe Illustrator. So what we're going to do first, if you're on your computer, you want to go to Finder, you want to go into Applications and find Adobe Illustrator, which is actually orange here. So we can open up this file, kind of drops open, and then here it is. So double click on that and it'll launch. You'll see it bouncing on the dock there. If you do Control click, or Command click, sorry, Command click Options, and keep in dock, so you don't have to go looking for it again next time. So let's just begin setting up a document in Illustrator. This is how you would set up for your logo file in Illustrator. So if we do a File, New, Document, so we want to make sure this is in inches, and let's make it 3 by 3. So that's what size I'm going to make you use for your Illustrator document. We'll just do one artboard. CMYK color, high resolution of 300 dpi. If this is on RGB, make it CMYK. Make sure this is on 300. And we can actually look in more settings, but I don't think we need to change anything. Make sure the color mode's in CMYK, but that's right here. So, yep, just push create. Okay, great. So this is, this is our canvas, or artboard is what they call it in Illustrator. In let's see, Photoshop, it's a canvas. So let's go to Essentials Classic here. You can also do Window, Workspace, Essentials Classic. You can even do Reset Essentials Classic if you want, which actually you probably should just do that. I'm going to pop this like this so I can just used to working with it like that. The toolbar is right here. This is the properties panel. It kind of changes depending on what kind of tool you have selected. You can see how it changes for each tool that I might have selected. Changes slightly. So one thing we can do, I'll show you here. So we're going to bring in a file here, and we'll manipulate that. So in order to bring, if you were to find something online, say on Safari, say I found this bird silhouette that I like because I'm doing a logo on, flight or something. I'm not quite sure what it would be for, but we do a file place to bring that in. So I think I have it in my downloads actually. So here it is. Files. We just push place one more time, click, and as you can see, it's kind of big. So you might have to do a Command 0, or you can even use the zoom tool, I guess. So just zoom way out. You click and hold it down and drag it to make it zoom in and out. You might just have to experiment with that. But I also do Command plus or minus using the keyboard to do the same thing. So if you want to make things smaller in Illustrator, this tool, the free transform tool, is a good one to use. So grab that, push shift, and then just size this thing down. Okay, so we'll just kind of get that to be around the size of the canvas. Make sure you have it selected. This is the direct selection tool. This is a good tool to use when you want to grab things and move things around. So let's just do this. Make sure it's selected. It has that blue bounding box around it with the X in it. And we go to image trace right here. And let's just go to black and white logo, since that's what we're working on. You can also do it in color. If this was a color image, we could do it in 3 colors, 6 colors, 16 shades of gray. I mean, there's different interesting things. Line art. So if we do line art, we can see what this is going to look like. Didn't really do much, so that's not very good. Command Z. I thought it would be interesting, but let's try sketch art. Oh, not much. Command Z. So it might be that this image just isn't good for... so if we click on that... Sorry. So if we go to image trace up here, let's just go to that black and white logo like we were going to. Doesn't look like it's done anything, but if it's a 2-part process with the image trace. You have to do expand. So click on that expand button. And actually, this is where the white arrow tool really comes into handy. We can in handy. We can click on that and we can actually see if we Command plus or use the zoom tool to zoom in, we can see that this has a shape now with these anchor points all along the edges of the bird silhouette. And that's how we know that this thing is in vector, which vectors are pretty neat because they are files that contain these anchor points, and this can now be sized up to the size of basically your house. If you wanted to, if you had a printer big enough, you could size it up to the size of your house and it would never become blurry because it's vector-based and not pixel-based. Stuff out of Photoshop is typically pixel-based. That file that we did the image place on is actually a JPEG image that is pixel-based, but we have now just converted it to vector, and that's what Illustrator is good for. So this is a shape now. We can grab it, we can change the fill color here. One thing that might happen to you, like it just happened to me, you might have to go into the color, and actually the color palette is right here on the top. It looks like a color palette, and just go to make sure it's on CMYK, and then it'll actually allow you to change the color here, and you can also do it over here. This is the fill color of any object that you might have selected. If we want to put a stroke or outline around this shape, we can add, yellow, whatever we want there. So just make sure you add a fill color and a stroke color to this. You can choose whatever color you want. And then let's do the text tool next. So grab the text tool. You can click and drag to create that text box, and maybe something like this. The paragraph is up here. We can center it here. You can also use it over here in the properties panel. There's a couple different areas that we can find it. And then over here in the character panel, we can change the type of text that we're using. That looks kind of cool, but it's very not readable. One thing about logos, remember, try to make it readable. I don't know. I mean, just pick a font that you like. Double click. We can make it bigger here using this tool here. Maybe let's make it 24. Try to make it 24 points. And then if you need to grab two objects, you can click and drag. And so I have my text box selected and my bird, and you can go up here and actually horizontally center align things. So now they're aligned perfectly down the center, which is good. I can also click here over here in the properties panel, because the properties panel always has everything in it. And we can click here at this 3 dots for more options in the align section of the properties panel. And we can do align to artboard. And if we do that, it'll center it in the middle of our artboard. So let me just kind of show you. So if this was off to the side, I can do a command, or I can actually do a group right here. So this will actually put these two objects together. So when you pick it up, it's one piece. So if I want to ungroup it, I can do that. And so if I pick this up, now they're separate again. But if you push shift, you can get two things at once, and we can group that. And so if this is on align to artboard, we can do horizontal alignment, and that'll actually align it to the center of the artboard through the horizontal, or let's see, through the horizontal axis. If we want to do it through the vertical center, we can do that as well. So we can get it perfectly centered on our artboard, which is kind of nice. But I actually like to have this on align to section selection most of the time. So you might want to change that back. So yeah, that's one way of doing kind of an image trace logo. We can actually make another artboard here, and then push return. I think we should have, let's see, can I make it? Edit artboards. Let's see. Okay, so we can add an extra artboard here. Then we can do exit to get out of there. So I went into edit artboards, and you can create extra artboards here. I would suggest adding another artboard to this and then pushing exit to get out of there. So now we have the artboard numbers at 2. So then the second one, I was going to show you how to use the shape builder tool. So let's say, here's my shape tool here. So there's rectangles, rounded rectangle, ellipse, polygon, star. If we use the polygon tool, we can click and drag and then just hold down and use the arrow keys on the keyboard to create a triangle shape until we get, it'll eventually, the lower button will reduce the number of sides. If you want to add sides, you just go to the upper keyboard on your, the up arrow on your keyboard. But I'm going to go down to 3 sides because I want a nice triangle. I can actually kind of go around here and rotate it when I see this kind of icon in the corner. And I can actually do Command C, Command V to copy paste, and then we can actually go to Object, Arrange. If I want to bring it to the send to back, I can actually put this one behind this next one and say I want to select both, and I'm actually wanting to align them down the center. I mean, I can do it in several places. So align it down the center. And let's say I want to make this one solid shape. I just need to grab my black arrow tool, make sure they're both selected. That's really important. And then the shape builder tool over here is actually great for actually moving things, bringing things together. So let me do a Command Z to bring us back where we were before I even used the shape builder tool. So if I click and drag over both shapes to select them both, I'm going to kind of center it. And then if I go to that shape builder tool, you just you click and drag to add shapes in. So now if you look at this, this shape is now separate from this shape. If I want to bring them together even more than that, I can click and drag, make sure both are selected, and use that shape builder tool and just drag and hold down and draw that line, and it'll actually become one shape there. If I do another Command C, Command V, I can kind of, I don't know, experiment with this shape builder tool. Maybe I want it to be, I don't know, something like this. So if I select both shapes, you can actually use the shape builder tool again and just combine all of these shapes together. So I'm just clicking and dragging and drawing boxes. Maybe I want to delete these ones, so we actually push Option and see how I get that little minus, and that'll actually start deleting shapes. So now I'm getting kind of this interesting, I'm going to add these together to create one shape. And so now I have this really interesting shape that I've built. It's all one chunk now. I can, my fill and stroke color or my outline color, I can, swap the fill and stroke easily by clicking on this button here. It's not really a button, but it's just more of an icon. And then to size shapes down, it's really easy, but just make sure you push Shift when you grab things and start sizing them down, because you will lose the proportion of things if you're not careful. So that's using the shape builder tool. So yeah, with your logo, I want you to create some sort of symbol, either building it from scratch with the shape builder tool, or you can outline it, you can trace it with image trace and even use like a combination of these two techniques. And then I do want you to put some sort of text underneath. And when you do text, one thing to remember, I'm going to ungroup this. One thing to remember on this is when you're done and you have it looking the way you want it to look, just make sure that you go to Object or Type, Create Outlines. And that will, if we Command plus on that, you can see it's no longer text. it's now shapes. And that's important to do because not everybody has the font that you're using.